The big rush back to Johannesburg along the N3, and Transport Minister Sindisiwe Chikunga is leading a road safety campaign this morning, all-important Mooi River Plaza on the N3 in KZN. Traffic volumes are expected to peak a little later this morning, holiday makers heading back after this long weekend. We heard from the N3 toll concession. They're currently counting about 500 cars per hour going through the toll gates on the N3. That is expected to pick up later. My colleague Lethiwe Mdluli is at the toll plaza for us this morning. Hello to you out in Mooi River, Lethiwe. Let's just bring everyone up to speed what the roads are looking like. It's quite rainy and misty here in Johannesburg, but Mooi River not looking too bad, but drivers still being asked to be very cautious.
Well, Gareth, it might just rain because it's a bit cloudy here as well, but there's a hive of activity here at the Mooi River Toll Plaza. I'm just going to ask my colleague Lungelo to show you the amount of people and also the amount of cars that are passing by this toll plaza. The Department of Transport is, of course, holding a major roadblock. This is their campaign to make sure that everyone who's going back home after the long weekend will make sure that they follow the rules of the roads rather, and also just to encourage safety in the streets. But right now I'm joined by Ubab Sydney. I want to bring him in and ask him about some of the campaigns and also what they've observed so far here at the toll plaza. Ubab Sydney, thank you so much for joining us at eNCA. Tell us more about this campaign. What are you currently doing here?
Yeah, as you'd understand that we are on the verge of closing Easter now. We had quite a lot of visitors in KwaZulu-Natal, and people will obviously be traveling back home. And the intention of the roadblock, as you can see it's a multidisciplinary roadblock where we have all the entities. And these are people who have been playing this role now since the beginning of Easter, as we do it year in and year out. And the purpose here is just to make sure that people comply with the law and the roadworthiness of the vehicle. And there's many activities that were happening in KwaZulu-Natal, as you would understand. So the reason why we have a multidisciplinary activity here, SAPS will be responsible for ensuring that there's no illicit goods in the vehicle, and then the roadworthiness of the vehicle and the fitness of the vehicle driver will be the responsibility of law enforcement. So it's basically to say, we want you to arrive safe. You enjoyed yourself, you visited your families, you had your activities where you came from. What is key is that you arrive safe to your destination.
You know, Babsidi, over the weekend we have been observing motorists coming into the province. We did observe that it wasn't a lot of people that drove down. There wasn't much activity on the roads over the weekend, starting from Thursday. Over the weekend, what did you observe as the RTI?
Yeah, look, a typical example is that we had a drunk driving activation in Harrismith, for instance, and we had about 13 people arrested for driving under influence. And quite strange, those are people who are not residents of Harrismith. We had different registration numbers on the respective vehicles. And that in itself is an indication that you still have people who will consume and be on the road. Maybe it might appear as if it was not busy. We've been on the road for quite some time. During night hours, we had quite a number of trucks moving along the N3. And obviously, as you'd also understand, that most of the incidents that we experience are early hours of the morning. So it has been slightly busier than one could expect. Yeah.
And right now I've seen a few drivers that have been stopped. Have you arrested anyone, and what have you found?
Yeah, to date we have one person arrested for fraudulent disc of the vehicle. Other than that, it's basic roadworthiness, summonses that have been issued to date.
And throughout the course of the day, because a lot of people will be driving to provinces such as the Free State, Mpumalanga and Gauteng using the stretch of the road, we've observed so far that about 500 cars are passing by this toll plaza. Are you expecting much activity?
Yes, our political principle will be here, and that's the key message for our minister. Obviously, the message will be arrive safe, and there will be some activation, there will be some engagement with the drivers. And it's a key message for us for now that we leave to our political principle, because she will be then hosting us literally for today.
Awesome, thank you so much.
It's a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Okay, so Gareth, there you have it. There's going to be a lot of activity here at the Mooi River Toll Plaza for today. We are expecting for the Transport Minister to also grace us, and she will be interacting with motorists for the course of today, just basically encouraging motorists to drive safe. We are expecting a lot of people that came down to the province to be heading back home after the long weekend. As I said before, I've been here since Thursday. We started at Tugela, Mooi River, all the way to Marian Hill Toll Plaza, and over the weekend we did observe that there were not a lot of cars on our roads, which means that there was a decrease in road accidents. We also spoke to Netcare 911 on Friday, and they were saying that there's been a decrease in also road fatalities as well, which is something good for the province of KwaZulu-Natal, because usually around Easter time you see a lot of accidents because of the traffic volumes in the province, because of the visitors that come to visit. So we will be speaking to the minister as well and just find out what she has to say to the motorist for the course of today.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm taking a look at the N3 toll concession Twitter account as well. I heard from Tanya Dugra earlier, Lethiwe. The numbers now for where you are heading north, currently sitting at 886 vehicles per hour. Vehicles going south, 220. So the numbers definitely have jumped up in the last hour. But there is the latest from Mooi River in KZN for us. Lethiwe Mdluli, back to her again a little bit later. So if you were thinking maybe making a last-minute mad dash home from KZN back into Gauteng, you might want to leave, because it looks like it's going to get very busy very, very soon. Now, the